Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. If you guys didn't know, the new crafting event, Tokushu Heiki, is starting tomorrow, September 26th at 12 GMT, and will be lasting through October 9th at 12 GMT. Now, there are some new things with this, some positive things with this that I'm excited to go over, and that's pretty much what I'll be doing in this video. Hopefully it'll be relatively short compared to my previous videos. I do strongly recommend looking at this dev blog, so I will link it in the comments below, because it goes over every single thing that you need to know about actually, getting part 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever done, about combining products and all that. Sometimes that can be a bit tricky, and I'm not the best at describing that. So again, I'll just go over the general details here so that you know exactly what this is, what you can win, and the general rules around it. Now, as said before, this starts on September 26th and runs through October 9th. Now, Tokushu Heiki means special weapons. That's pretty much what this is all about. Now, of course, the 4 vehicles that you can obtain are the KI-80 or KI-48-2 Otsu, which is a Rank 2 premium vehicle, and all that you need is one test report. So basically, you just need to go through the crafting event once in order to be able to get this test report. Again, I strongly recommend going to the devlog. As you can see, they have a huge section about exactly how it works, and this would describe it better than I ever could, so strongly recommend going to it, and then that way you can see exactly how to earn one of these test reports. Basically, if you guys don't know, and I do have a video about this, this has basically a World War II air-to-ground guided missile. That's right. So it's a rank 2 with basically a cruise missile, well, kind of a cruise missile on it. So pretty cool. Next up, we have the IJN Kurama, which is, of course, the top level naval reward. This is 3 test reports. So again, 3 times getting through the entire event. Next up, we have the LOSAT, which is the ground vehicle reward. And this has basically, it fires ATGMs, but instead of having heat heads, basically, this has solid projectiles. These are basically rocket launched APF SDS. They will be traveling, I think, at 1600 meters per second, and as Oddboss said, they have the same kinetic energy of a late 90s Civic moving at about Mach 1. So these things are going to be pretty damn nasty and have probably more armor pen than any other APF SDS projectile in game. Next up, we have the F100F. This will be an event vehicle too. Mind you, these are all event vehicles, so they do not provide any bonuses when grinding, and I'll make a video on that this week, but this is basically a higher version of the F100, but I don't believe it has flares or AIM-9Ps, despite the fact that it had the opportunity to have those in real life, I believe. Now, that said, the IJM Kurama, the LOSAT, and F100F can be earned from the start of the event, so basically, if you really want, you can buy everything on the marketplace and just get these vehicles immediately on the, at 12 GMT starting September 26th, but you can also just earn them until October 23rd, and I'll go over that in just a second. But basically, what that means is that if you have any leftover materials, or maybe if you have to go to the marketplace to buy some more materials, you can do so until October 23rd. Next, we have the KI-48-2 Otsu. Now, this is a much thinner stretch of time, because you can only earn that from the 16th to the 23rd of October if you play on PC, but if you play on PlayStation or Xbox, you can earn it from the 9th to the 23rd. And basically, I think the reason for that is because Gaijin just doesn't want you spending one test report and saying, I'm going to be done playing, that's it. So they don't give you the option to get that immediately, because if they give you the option to get that immediately from September 26th onwards, that's all that people would do. At least that's what Gaijin's fear is. Now, interestingly, they are doing this a bit better, in my opinion, quite a bit better. So they are increasing the amount of days that you could do this to 13. So you will have 13 days to actually get all of these crates, drops, all of that, instead of 11. So they are adding 2 extra days, so hopefully that reduces the grind. And just as well, it says the maximum possible number of dropped items has been increased so that there is enough for 6 builds, so 6 of these test reports, instead of 4. This means that during the event, you'll be able to get 2 main prizes, again, that cost 3 test reports each, instead of 1 main prize, and of course the lowest level prize. So that means that if you really want to grind for it, you can get these. I mean, even if you just grind, even if you play as normal, getting an extra almost 20%, so 2 days, that's almost 20% extra time to do it, that might actually put you over the edge, and hopefully that also reduces the cost of marketplace materials. Now, as I said before, you are going to want to go onto the website just to look at this. This is going to be gospel once this comes out, and it's just much better to hear it from Gaijin. But it is interesting because, I mean, aside from, of course, all of these details, whatever else, you will be able to go onto the marketplace if you are a PC player and purchase these various items, basically, right? Like the pieces in order to construct bigger things. You can buy them on the marketplace or sell them on the marketplace if you so choose. Additionally, and this is just kind of the real basic of it, every 2,500 earned points in battle, you will earn a resource box, which will then give you 3 to 5 materials, which can be pretty much any one of these things, right? So 3 to 5 materials, which then you use to assemble different parts, things like that, or again, you could sell them on the marketplace. So pretty interesting in that regard. So you will be getting up to 2,500, or every 2,500 score rather. Now, importantly, how much score you get towards this is impacted by the rank that you're playing and also the game mode that you're playing. So for example, if you're playing like top tier naval RB, you will be getting more points than if you're playing like tier 3 ground arcade, for example, right? Because they have different modifiers. Typically, Naval RB has a very high modifier, and the higher the rank that you go, regardless of the game mode that you're playing, the higher the rank the vehicle that you play gives you a higher modifier as well. So basically, like, let's say if you got 1,000 points at the end of a match, and you have like, you're playing Ground RB rank 7, right? So Ground RB is probably like a 1.2 times modifier, rank 7 is probably like 1.3 times, and so they add that all up together, and you might get something like, I don't know, like 1,500 points, and then that'll kind of contribute to this resource box. Whereas if you're playing Naval RB top tier, you might get 2,200 points out of that same exact match that you got 1,000 points on the scorecard, but it ends up being however much more based on the multiplier. Now bear in mind, it could even be lower than that. Let's say if you're playing AB, typically AB, regardless of if it's air, ground, or naval, you earn a lower multiplier, and again, having a lower rank, let's say if you're playing rank 3 AB, you could end up getting, like, if you have that same 1,000 point game, you could end up only getting 800 score towards this resource box, or even less. So you really want to pay, bear that in mind. It is extremely important what game mode you're playing, because if you feel like, hey, I'm only 5% worse in ground RB and at a higher rank than I am in ground AB at a lower rank, it would probably benefit you strongly to just play the ground RB instead and bite the bullet, even if you're just slightly better in ground AB at lower BRs. Now, as mentioned before, you can also purchase different materials on the marketplace if you are a PC player. If you are not, you can actually purchase these on the in the Xbox and PlayStation stores via Golden Eagles. Basically, this just gives you a lot of materials, and I believe this gives you a typewriter. Now, these are given every 7,500 points, the development progress data. Now, basically what that is, those are something that you get every single, so you get more of these basically every time that you get 7,500 points. You can buy that with GE if, again, you're a PlayStation or Xbox player. Whereas these you can buy on the marketplace if you're a PC player, or if you're just going to be playing it, you get these every 7,500 points anyway. So it's kind of like the same concept as the resource boxes, but for every 3 resource boxes that you get one of these on top of it, all of which are required to assemble the final test codes or the test reports that basically get you these vehicles. Now, just for some general rules here, it says the number of items received in battle is limited. You can only get up to 30 resource boxes per day, up to 360 for the entire event. You can only get up to 10 development progress datas per day, up to 120 for the entire event. Factory upgrade toolkits, you can only get up to 450 for the entire event. Now, basically, these factory upgrade toolkits, if you guys don't know, the whole concept behind it is if you get X amount, then you can speed up. Because, like, in order to make a test report, or a test report here, it takes a certain amount of time. And so, I believe it's 12 hours. And so, by getting one of those factory upgrade toolkits, the basic level, it brings it down to 3 hours. And then if you get the top level, which typically is 50 matches in first place, then that brings it down to 1 hour. They're basically totally pointless and only for people who really want to rush it. Most people just sell them on the marketplace if they can because they're useless, but you get those factory upgrade toolkits, or at least the pieces for them, every time that you get in first place. So it's not required at all in order to actually get any of these, but it does make the final construction of the test report a little bit quicker. So you want to bear that in mind as well. Now, this can be done in ground RB, AB, and sim, aircraft AB, RB, and sim, and also, of course, naval AB and RB. Like I said, ground tends to have the lowest multipliers, aircraft second highest, and naval having the highest, with realistic and sim being the highest in terms of the various, I guess, difficulty modes, so to speak. So again, if you're playing naval realistic, you're probably going to have the highest return, I guess you could say, of the score at the end of the match. So again, that example before, if you have a 1,000 score match at the end of a match, you might end up having 2,200 or more score that you can use in order to get the resource crates. So you want to bear that in mind. You want to pick which ones you're most comfortable with, but also which ones will earn you the most. Also, if you haven't noticed this, you can track the progress of obtaining event items as well as the daily and total limits by clicking on your nickname and selecting in the menu achievements. Tokushu Heiki says multipliers for earning points depend on the game mode and maximum rank, which I mentioned before, and it is specified in each task, so you do want to look at that. It will go into details right where I said before in achievements Tokushu Heiki, so you want to bear that in mind. Now, these can only be earned on rank 3 or higher vehicles, so that is very important. However, if you have a lower than rank 3 vehicle, like an event vehicle, you will be able to use those as well, but they will still be subject to these rank and battle type, game mode rather, modifiers. So you do want to make that and bear that in mind. But in general, that's pretty much it. Again, I do strongly recommend going onto the website, looking this up, because this goes over everything. It's not necessarily very important right now, but once this starts tomorrow on the 26th, this could be of huge help, especially if you've never participated in a crafting event before, because Gaijin has always struggled with telling people exactly how to complete crafting events. It's just something they throw you to the fire, but this is probably the first in-print guide that I've ever seen them do, and it's actually pretty damn good. So again, if you're struggling, you have no idea what this is all about, totally fine, totally understandable. Gaijin does not make it easy to understand, so I definitely, again, recommend going to the devlog, which I'll link down below. By the way, thanks so much for watching. If you don't mind, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I definitely appreciate it. By the way, thanks again, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.